Good Thursday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it over the hump, and we're in the home stretch toward the weekend. Of course, you have your news headlines coming up on this Thursday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich in today's Entertainment Spotlight, even part of my conversation with author Dennis Perkins. Enjoy today's program. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Thursday headlines. In national news, under pressure to ease up, Biden weighs new virus response. Facing growing pressure to ease up on pandemic restrictions, the White House insisted Wednesday it is making plans for a less disruptive phase of the national virus response. But impatient states, including Democratic New York, made clear they aren't waiting for Washington as public frustration grows. The governor announced that New York will end its COVID-19 mandate, recovering face coverings in most indoor public settings, but will keep it for schools. Illinois announced the same. Earlier this week, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Delaware all disclosed plans to join states that have lifted or never had mask requirements for their schools, and Massachusetts will follow suit at the end of the month. Biden, who has long promised to follow the science in confronting the pandemic, is hemmed in, waiting for fresh guidance from federal health officials who so far still recommend that nearly all Americans wear a mask in most indoor settings. Defending Biden, Press Secretary Jen Psaki acknowledged that while people are tired of masks and we understand where the emotions of the country are, the administration is following the advice of medical experts who rely on scientific evidence. That doesn't move at the speed of politics. It moves at the speed of data, she says. Clearly feeling the pressure, the White House, for the first time, acknowledged movement in its planning, saying conversations have been underway privately to develop plans for guiding the country away from the emergency phase of the pandemic. Federal COVID-19 coordinator said officials are consulting with state and local leaders and public health officials on potential next steps. But as governors and local officials press for clearer federal guidelines for easing or ending restrictions, states, city, and school boards are adopting an awkward patchwork of policies that differ widely from one place to the next. We are working on that guidance, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky said in a White House teleconference Wednesday. As we've been encouraged by the current trends, we are not there yet, she said. The White House offered no timetable for the review or an indication of what it will recommend, and some critics say that's not good enough. As whether Biden appears to be out of touch with the country, Psaki defended his caution. As a federal government, we have the responsibility to rely on data, on science, on the medical experts, she said. Pressed on whether Americans should follow less restrictive state or local rules or the stricter federal guidance, she repeated the White House Daily Counsel. We would advise any American to follow the CDC guidelines. In a related story, as case counts fall, the World Health Organization chief warns COVID is not finished. The head of the World Health Organization insisted Wednesday that COVID isn't finished with us, appealing for more support to fight the pandemic after his agency reported that new infections fell, but virus deaths rose worldwide over the past week. In sports, Goodell says league won't tolerate racism. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says the league will deal with discrimination in a serious way if he finds that teams violated that principle. Goodell says we won't tolerate racism, we won't tolerate discrimination. Goodell says the league will look to see if any policies need to be modified after another offseason where the number of minority coaches has not increased. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell defended the league, though, using an oral report from an outside investigator into the then Washington Football Club. Goodell did not answer the question on whether results of the new investigation into the Washington Commanders owner, Dan Snyder, will be released in a written report. The commissioner says the oral report was used to make sure anyone who wanted to protect the identity of anyone who wanted to speak to investigators was done privately. In business news, stocks rise broadly on Wall Street with more help from tech. Technology companies led a broad rally for stocks on Wall Street Wednesday, pushing the market further into the green for the week. The S&P 500 rose 1.5%, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 0.9%, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ composite rose 2.1%. The indexes started off the day headed higher and never slipped into the red, a change from the market's recent bout of volatile trading. More than 85% of stocks in the S&P 500 gained ground, with technology and communication stocks powering much of the gains. And finally, in entertainment news, Entertainment Weekly, In Style and Health to go only digital. a clutch of lifestyle and pop culture magazine titles, including Entertainment Weekly, In Style, and Health, will end their print editions and go digital only. The 6 magazines, also counting Eating Well, Parents and People, were formerly owned by Meredith Corporation and will be available only online starting in April. The move was first reported by the Wall Street Journal and is just the latest sign of print media's declining circulation and revenue. The move will lead to 200 jobs being cut, mostly supporting the print operation. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's on time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, it's all yours.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Be thankful while maintaining an attitude of positivity. Foil negativity that may grow where people congregate by simply making an effort to maintain a positive attitude. When other people who may experience negativity are confronted with your upbeat, optimistic demeanor, they will experience a shift in their own mood as well. There is a human tendency to mimic the moods of whomever you encounter. Your good nature inspires other people to go forward with a great big chain reaction of goodness. You can easily spread cheer in your own circle of influence and beyond. Try to make social media a happy place of good vibrations, or your text messages positive and uplifting. Today, be thankful as you use your most effective tool, your attitude of positivity. And remember, enjoy the day.
We are part of my conversation coming up with author Dennis Perkins in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Author Dennis Perkins joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about already what's going on with him in 2022 and what it's been like for him to share the message of his books. Here's a bit of our conversation.
Dennis, as I mentioned, you are already literally out there on the road. I'm a little jealous. I haven't left Mississippi since March of 2020, but you've already been out there meeting people. What has this experience been like for you, Dennis, to not only have written these books, but also to be out there sharing them with people?
It's a phenomenal experience because, I'm out there really just benefiting from it all. It seems like it's more of a blessing to me to be out there and meeting the people and seeing their responses to the books, and we have great conversation. It surprises me sometimes how the depth of the conversations we have. So I'm enjoying it. It's not a waste of time, I tell you that. It's
right.
worth my time getting out there.
And to that point, Dennis, you mentioned the conversations. The great thing about your book is that there's so many different ways the conversations can go because of the type of books you've written about. You've written about love, in particular God's love. You've written about courage and faith. You've written about the importance of being mindful of association and where you're getting information, but also, the importance of staying true to, especially for people of faith, staying true to what's expected of them. Do you think that has helped you to be able to reach different people because you have different things you can discuss with them?
Cyrus, that's something I never really thought of it that way, and but that's true because people stand there and they say, well, okay, tell me about every book. And when I start mentioning, the contents of the book, what it's about, then they start to think about it, and it helps them to make their selection.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News, but we have to get on tomorrow to wrap up this week. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make today amazing. Take care.